Hello digital world, welcome back once again to another episode of Spliced In Later. Apologies in advance if you can hear squeaking. For some reason the chair that I sit in to record these things has decided to break, and I fixed it the best I could, but it's very flimsy because I'm not very good with my hands. So apology if I'm talking and you just hear that could be the chair, could also be me, I don't know. Welcome back. We are here finally to do a movie review, one that I've been counting down to for most of my other episodes. I believe I've signed off a majority of them going, only this many weeks till Ant-Man, only this many weeks till Ant-Man. Now it's finally here, and it's exciting because it's also kicking off a good couple of months of movies. I got the week off next week, and then we got Creed, and then there's a week off there, and then we got Shazam and John Wick and Dungeons and Dragons. I'll even brave the Super Mario Bros. Movie for you. So there should be a lot of content coming for Spliced In Later, so keep your ears out for that. Housekeeping before I start this review. I've had the week from hell. If you have listened to my previous episodes, you will know here or there that my cat Winston has been having some issues. There were times where we thought he was getting better and times where he suddenly seemed to be getting worse. It all came to a head this week where I was like, okay, he's not well. I don't care what anybody else tells me. Something's wrong. And after several vet visits, much money spent, a lot of detective work from wonderful vets, the little fool, the little lovely bumbling fool, just like his dad, ate something he shouldn't have, and it got lodged and was causing all sorts of troubles. So he's had his surgery though, he's come out the other side, the thing has been removed, and if all goes well, I'll get to pick him up today. But that has been weighing on my mind to a point where yesterday, someone asked me if I was still okay to go see this movie. And I went, shit, is that today? I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the right headspace for it. But the good news came in right before it, so I was able to go and see it. So luckily, I was able to watch this movie without it weighing too much on my mind, but it was still there. And in many cases, there have been a lot of movies where things going on in your own life may impact how you receive the movie. Infamously for me, Black Adam. I went and saw that after having something else horribly terrible happen to me. I hated Black Adam. On a rewatch, I still don't like it, but I can see how I might have been more angrier when I first saw it in theaters based on what was going on in my life. So this might sort of be the same, but I don't think so. I think this is going to be a fair review from somebody who loves the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes. You would know that if you're a regular listener on here. We talk about it constantly, whether we talk about the movies from the past, as we are slowly working our way through Phase 1 and Phase 2, to reviewing the new stuff that's coming out, which is very plentiful, thanks to Disney Plus and movies surging back now that the pandemic has apparently ended. No one told me, but there we are. I love it. Love everything about it. Love the connected universe. Love the characters. Love a majority of the movies, very muchly. So there's a lot of hype for this one. I really liked the Ant-Man movies as well. It's weird. I think I'm the opposite when it comes to how people have received Ant-Man movies. People seem to really like the first one and hate the second, and I'm the exact opposite. I think the first one is completely average, and the second one is really, really, really good. But a lot of what was coming from this movie is based on Kevin Feige and MCU Studios telling people that this is going to be the start of a pivotal point in the next chapter of the MCU. We've finished the Infinity Saga. Thanos is done. He's been beaten. What are we doing next? Well, it's all to do with the multiverse and with our next big bad, Kang the Conqueror, who's put in an appearance in Loki. The multiverse has been a point in a lot of recent MCU films like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. But this is the first time Kang the Conqueror faces off against an Avenger, officially launching Phase 5 and really getting in to the meat of what the multiverse saga is supposed to be, supposedly. And the trailers looked great, as is the case for most MCU films. Whether they turn out really good or really bad, they know how to make a trailer, and the trailers for this looked like a real cool, trippy, vibey sort of movie. So, went and saw it at the advanced screening. Apparently not early enough. There's plenty of reviews all over the internet, so this will probably get buried with everything else. But here's Spliced In Later's review of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. My knee-jerk reaction to the movie is that it's very competently made. It's a fun time, as all MCU movies are. Some good performances from MCU staples like Paul Rudd and Michelle Pfeiffer. interesting route to take with Ant-Man movies. Exciting new worlds to explore going into the quantum realm. Some surprises here and there, and a really, really great performance from Jonathan Majors as Kang. But I really felt it with this one, that a lot of these movies were being told what's coming, but the execution is not living up to what I would hope it for. A lot of these MCU movies I get really, really excited for because of what I'm told from trailers and Kevin Feige and everybody else what's coming. And then you watch the movie and it's not nearly what you expect it to be based on what you've been told, which immediately ruins the expectations were too high. But you start to unpack whether the movie works as a movie or if it works as the next point of the multiverse saga. And I don't think it really works in either category. Of the MCU films I've seen recently, this is probably the one that I was the least interested in while I was watching. I didn't think it was bad by any sense. I thought it was a very well-made, competent movie with some of my favorite characters in here. But there are long stretches where I was genuinely bored, waiting for things to happen. Basically, if you don't know the plot of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, it's the next adventure for Scott and his immediate family, his girlfriend Hope, the Wasp, his daughter Cassie, who's now all grown up. He missed so much of her growing up while he was stuck in the quantum realm during Avengers Endgame, and they're adopted through Hope, grandpa, grandma sort of thing, with Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, and Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp. Scott's very famous. He's got the reputation of being one of the Avengers who saved the world. Life's pretty good for him. The only real issue he has is dealing with a grown-up Cassie, because it's sort of a shock that she went from being 5 years old to a rebellious teenager. But shenanigans ensue when Cassie is working on a signal to the quantum realm for quantum realm study, which accidentally alerts somebody living in the quantum realm who has a history with Janet when she was stuck in there for the last couple of movies. They all get sucked into the quantum realm. And then what follows is a big CGI journey to the center of the earth, Incredible Voyage style movie. As everybody's split up, they try to find each other, and they try to keep off the radar, because ruling the quantum realm is Kang the Conqueror, who is a terrible, terrible, nasty, horrible sort of villain, and wants to get out of the quantum realm. If he does get out, he's not only going to destroy our world, but he's going to continue waging war with his other selves across the multiverse and pretty much destroy all of time and space. Scott has to get his family out of the quantum realm while keeping Kang in the quantum realm, dealing with all sorts of acid trippery stuff that the quantum realm is throwing at him, return of old enemies, encountering new enemies, and basically usual Marvel heroic stuff. Now, what I like about the film is it's another unique style film to add to the MCU's repertoire of genres: political thrillers, heist films, space operas, all of that. As I said, this reminded me very much of a Journey to the Center of the Earth type movie, or The Incredible Voyage, where people shrink down and go inside people's bodies. It's going into a world that exists in our world but is inaccessible to regular human beings, and going to a world that is ruled by different rules, physics, anatomy, all of that stuff. Everybody goes into space in a lot of space movies, but everybody you meet on other planets tend to still be humanoids. It's the infamous Star Trek, where encountering aliens is just people with bumps on their nose. But in the quantum realm, you get creatures that are gloopy globs and broccolis for head, and buildings that are also creatures. There's all sorts to unpack for the quantum realm. One slight issue with the quantum realm has always sort of been, though, it's not really defined. The quantum realm has always been what the movie maker needs it to be for the movie to happen. In the first Ant-Man, the quantum realm was this inescapable void. But by Ant-Man and the Wasp, it was a void, but had enough stability in it for somebody to live in the quantum realm. However, time passed differently in there, which of course meant in Avengers Endgame, the quantum realm became tunnels that you can fly around through to travel through time. For this one, the quantum realm is now a legitimate civilization with people and creatures and Bill Murray, of all people. So that's always been a little crazy, but you tend to pull that aside, because as long as it helps the movie be enjoyable, who gives a shit about that? It's a Marvel movie, whatever. It's always fun to see Paul Rudd back as Ant-Man. I did feel like he was phoning it in a bit in this movie, but I don't think that's his fault. I think it's because the genre for this Ant-Man movie is so different from the others. The others are very low stakes, low key, fun, happy style movies. The worst Ant-Man has ever gone up against has been outside of his own movies in Avengers and Captain America and all of that. And he's with other people, so he can play off them as the comic relief. With this one, all of that fun escapade, heist style things you get from other Ant-Man movies is gone. It's more of a Ant-Man is the only one that can stop an evil godlike character like Kang the Conqueror from escaping to our world and destroying everything. So everything's a lot more serious, which I don't think really works well with Ant-Man's personality if he's the main character. I don't think Scott Lang doing the heroic stand against the enemy, fighting overwhelming odds, it just doesn't gel with what we're used to with him. It's okay to take him in new places, but if it doesn't work, you need to just adapt or whatever. And I'm not sure. There's a thing where I feel like the plan for what they want to do with Kang and the multiverse is affecting how these movies are made. So we want Kang to be in the Ant-Man movie. Does he work in an Ant-Man movie? No. But put him in there because we need him to, regardless, because each movie now is just a part of the cog in the machine, which gets to my big gripe at the moment with the MCU, which is quantity over quality. It's all about giving us so much MCU content, but not giving them enough time to really become their own things and become memorable in their own right. We got maybe the max we ever got for MCU stuff for the Infinity Saga was 3 movies a year. And they were all not designed to be part of the big Thanos saga. We were all building to Thanos, but every movie wasn't a step closer to Thanos. He was lurking there, but he wasn't the important part of every movie. And I feel like what they might be doing wrong with this is they're trying to make each movie part 1 of the 20-part Kang story, and they probably shouldn't do that. And when they don't do that, they tend to struggle coming up with their own stories. So then you get something like Thor: Love and Thunder, which is just a big old mess, unfortunately. The supporting cast in here, I really liked Catherine Newton as new Cassie. I know there's a lot of controversy that they didn't bring back Emma Thurman, who played Cassie in Avengers Endgame. It's probably fair. But Catherine Newton, she's really good as Cassie. You watch her on screen and you go, that is grown-up Abby Ryder-Fortson from the last Ant-Man. She's really likable in the same way you get Yelena from Black Widow or Kate Bishop from Hawkeye. These younger, America Chavez from Doctor Strange, these younger superheroes that are coming in, they're getting really lucky in that each one of them is very likable and fun to root for. So if they are building towards a Young Avengers team up or whatever with all these characters, sign me up for it. I'm here for that. Hope, Janet, Hank Pym, they're all serviceable, but they don't have that much to do. Hank Pym has really just been relegated to comic relief. I disagreed with my friend in the movie theater. He thought Michael Douglas sucked. I liked him because he just seemed to be having fun. If you're going to be relegated to comic side character, you may as well have fun with it. The thing that really stands out for me for this movie by far, though, even though I've been complaining about it being too much of the Kang thing coming, is Jonathan Majors as Kang. The movie starts off very slow and it's very dull and it's sort of dragging its feet, moving from place to place. You're just waiting for something to happen. But then Jonathan Majors walks on screen as Kang the Conqueror and he immediately owns it. He has an incredible presence. He is scary. He is intimidating. He's also kind of charming and charismatic. You like watching him, whether he's just discussing something with somebody else or he's actively threatening to rip someone apart. He holds your attention. Every scene he's in, whenever he does, there's never like, that was silly or that was whatever. He genuinely oozes fear, which is pretty great. And he really sells it as being a conqueror, a madman who's out there to just rule everyone else at the expense of freedom and free will. And for someone who hates himself so much, he's at war with other variants of himself across the multiverse. That's pretty crazy. If this were Kang's only appearance, I think Jonathan Majors would have done an incredible job. I'm excited to see more of him, though. A lot of the stuff you get at the end of the movie is very much, this isn't the last you've seen of Kang, but there's enough mystery about Kang still. I don't know much about him from the comics. People keep telling me stuff, and I don't really get it. So I'm interested to see how it plays out on the cinemas, because I can be surprised, or I can learn as everybody else does. But however we get to Kang's big role in the big Avengers movies coming up, or whatever he does, or who he kills, I'm excited to see it. And Jonathan Majors seems like he's having a ball playing this character, playing the different variants of himself, like when he played a different version in Loki. Sign me up. Give me more Jonathan Majors. I'm very excited. But at the end of the day, looking back at the movie, it was very boring. It was very tonally all over the place. The humor was lacking when you kind of want the humor in Ant-Man, and then when they tried to do humor, it fell completely flat. There's one character in here, MODOK. He has I won't spoil who MODOK's connection to Kang and this movie. If you've seen trailers, you've probably been spoiled on it, but if you haven't, I won't spoil it for you. He has an interesting twist to him, which I didn't know. I managed to avoid that from the trailers, so that's great. But tonally, he's completely all over the place, whether he is a villain or a side character or a comedy idiot. Every joke he told, every banter with him and Scott just felt awkward and uncomfortable. And there were a lot of moments where I was like, that was designed to make us laugh. I did not laugh. Nobody else in this cinema laughed. Oh dear. And with a lot of these things, at the end of the movie, I don't feel like anyone evolved or changed or are in a different place than when the movie began. Even Kang. There's a cliffhanger as to whether Kang is defeated or not, but not in a way that really lets you know. Scott starts the movie and ends the movie in the exact same place he is personally, character developmentally. He does not go for any radical changes. He does not have an epiphany. There's no setup of any character dynamics between him and Cassie, which is frustrating because you have that. If you miss your daughter's life for 5 years, she's going to change. You're not going to gel as much as you used to, but it's not really there. There's also all this setup about Janet meeting Kang in the quantum realm and them having a backstory and a history, which is treated as a mystery and alluded to, but there's no comeuppance at the end where Janet gets to redeem herself or stand up for herself or sever those ties with Kang that she had, because it becomes the Ant-Man versus Kang punching show. Which means, coming out of this movie, I don't feel like the MCU has changed in any way. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, there were big moments in there that changed dynamics in Wakanda, and characters were left in different positions than when they were at the start. Thor Love and Thunder, as silly as it was and how it really didn't work for me in a lot of places, Thor is in a different place at the end of the film than where he is at the start. Doctor Strange, maybe, not quite, but definitely for Ant-Man, I mean, they even bookend the film with Ant-Man having the same monologue doing the same thing. And it's not like the monologue is different. He's still saying what he said at the start of the movie. He's just sort of saying it now, being like, and also I went to the quantum realm. So that's what I think is going to work against the movie, is it's not going to stand out. People have argued for years who poo-poo the MCU that all these movies are the same and forgettable. And I've always argued that is not the case. But if they were to come back with me and go, what about Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania? I'd have to go, except for that one. However, it's still a fun movie. It's still entertaining. If you like the MCU, if you like Ant-Man, if you enjoy this expanding universe like I do, you will still get a kick out of it. And I still got a kick out of it. I just found some bits worked and some bits didn't. Definitely go see the film at the very least for your first proper look at Kang the Conqueror, because Jonathan Majors kills it and he will leave you wanting to see more of him, and we're going to get more of him, so that's exciting. But overall, I would really only give this movie a 7 out of 10, which is very disappointing because all the build up to it being the launch of Phase 5, the first start of Kang's big entrance into the MCU, how it would rattle Ant-Man's world, none of it really met the expectations or the standards that I really thought it was going to, which is a shame. However, not long after this, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is coming. James Gunn is directing it. The trailers look incredible. I am cautiously optimistic for that one. I feel like that will be the movie where I go, yeah, the MCU still got it. We'll just have to wait and see. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed. As I said, though, a lot of stuff going on with my poor boy Winston. So my brain-addled, stress-filled endorphins may have not allowed me to appreciate the movie as much as I could. So when I rewatch it, when I inevitably buy it on DVD and add it to the collection, I may like it a little bit more. And I think I will. I tend to do that when it comes to MCU stuff. We'll have to wait and see. I probably won't tell you. So you'll just have to wonder. I'll be back next week for my 200th episode. I have absolutely no idea what I'm going to do to honor the occasion. It may just be a standard episode. But I do hope you enjoy me for that. You enjoy me. I do hope you will join me for that. Thank you again for listening, listening to any of my episodes, whether you've just listened to this one or if you've been listening constantly. Thank you for putting up with my odd delivery of reviews, my lack of technical suaveness, or putting in any sort of effort to make this a competent podcast. It really is just me speaking, but I enjoy speaking, and I hope you enjoy listening. If you don't, I'm sorry. But until next week, I love and appreciate you as always. Go see Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Why not? Give it some love. Just go in with low expectations. I'll catch you next week. Adios, muchachos. I'll catch you next time.